So I'm just going to log into our test account for Geraldine, who is a PMO administrator in a portfolio management office.
Right. Is she any good?
We don't know yet. She's got to do her assessment. But.
Excellent.
So the first thing you'll see is our home screen. It's just a bit of information about how to get started once you first log in. But the most important tab is our My Competency tab over here. And the first thing that everyone will see when they first log in is the full competency framework. So everyone gets every single competency in all of the contexts, and you can obviously go through this and do a full assessment if you like, either in every single context or just the context that you work in. We're not going to show a full assessment today because, as we said, it should take a couple of hours to spend the time thinking and processing everything that you do. So the next most important bit is to look at your specific job role and do an assessment within your role. So you can click on add job profiles on the left hand side over here, and I could just search for my job role. So I am a PMO administrator in a portfolio context, and that is my current role. But I can also look at future job roles. So I can say that, well, in the next couple of years, I'm on track to be promoted up to be a PMO analyst within my same PMO. And that's my career step number 1. And I might say that in 5 or 10 or 15 years, or however long I'm working in the industry, that maybe one day I'd like to be a PMO director, either within the portfolio or in a centre of excellence. And I can add that as a more aspirational role and a long-term goal. And then once I save that, it will just jump me to my current role. So I can now look at the very specific competencies that are required to be a PMO administrator in a portfolio management office. And if I just look at the first one, I can see all of the indicators there for this competency. So I can look through, I can make sure that I can do everything in foundation, I can do everything in intermediate, and I'm not quite there with advanced. So I'll give myself a self-assessment level of intermediate for that. And you can see that it matches up here with my job level requirement. And I get a nice little green tick to show that I've achieved that one. And then what you should do is then look and see what have you done in your role to prove that you've attained this competency. So I can add some comments. So I can say that I've managed to onboard some staff in the last recruitment drive, and I've done that. So that proves I can do some administratory stuff. And I've also got a message here from my manager, because I'm set up within an organisation. And my manager's also provided some of her evidence on how well she thinks I've done in that competency. And then for more kind of concrete evidence, I can also upload a document. So I might choose to upload the onboarding process for the organisation to show that I've managed to do that successfully, and that comes up all linked to the competency. So that document is now held next to that competency, so anyone can review it. I can then go through the rest of my, I'll just very quickly have a look at what Geraldine's good at. So you can fill out the rest of the competencies. And then we also take a look here at the knowledge, skills and behaviours required for the role. So this is less complicated. There's no different levels. It's not foundation or intermediate. It's just a simple yes or no. But I can still click in and I can look at kind of the full text and double check that I know everything involved there. And I'll just do a quick jump down through these. Just very quickly fill that out. And then what I can do is I can look at how that maps over to my next job roll up. So I can now go to the top right and look at PMO analyst. I can see that because I've already filled out a lot of these competencies, it already overlaps onto the new requirements for that new job level. So I can see, obviously, there's a lot of new ones because it's a different role, but also some of the ones I already have a higher requirement in the new role as well. But it still holds all my evidence and documents that I have for that competency. So once you've filled this out, it might be a thing that you want to take along to a performance review or a discussion with a manager. And there's a very easy way just to see all of your information clearly. So go to our portfolio section and we can see a full review of my job profile for every single role that I put on. So obviously I'm doing much better in the PMO administrator role because that's where I am. And I'm not quite there yet for PMO directorship, but I can have a look at my nice little spider chart to see where I'm overachieving, where I'm not quite there. And I can do that for all of the knowledge, all of the skills, and all of the behaviours as well. And I think that's it for our first level review.